Hey, Aunt Tessa, just wanted to check in on you and see how you're doing.
Oh, Davis, what a lovely surprise hearing from you. To what do I owe the pleasure? And yes, I'm still getting my butt to work, so I think I'm just fine.
And you haven't been smoking at all lately either?
You know that I quit that a long time ago, don't you? Although I must say that I do get very tempted when the customers are smoking in the bar. But I still stay strong.
Well, that's good at least. You know that I worry about you at your age, right? You need to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. I mean, you do still drink quite a bit, and you're basically nocturnal with the way you work, too.
What on earth are you talking about? I get up every single day at around 10 in the morning. Not only that, but with the 2 new stores that I've opened up, I'm busy a lot more in the day than I am at night.
Well, that's another reason why I sometimes worry about you. Are you getting enough sleep most days, then?
These days, I am hardly ever staying at the store until closing time. So I don't think you need to worry about me being up too late.
But you have other things going on than what happens at your store, right? I mean, on top of managing them, you also have to go and meet with vendors and people like that too, right?
Yes, that is true. But don't worry, I'm definitely not partying like I used to when I was younger, and I've cut back on my drinking a lot.
I'm sorry, but I just remembered being in middle school and going into the living room in the morning to see you passed out with a bottle of wine on the couch.
Well, that's because I was still young and full of life back in those days. Now, there is just no way that I could keep up that lifestyle anymore. I think if I even had one day where I drank as much as I did back then, that I wouldn't even be able to function for about a week afterwards. So don't you worry about me. That's all behind me now.
You keep talking about how young you were back then, but I think you were still pretty old by the time I was living with you.
Davis, how rude! Don't you know you shouldn't be talking to a lady about her age? Honestly, I thought I raised you better than that.
I'm sorry, you know that I didn't mean it like that, but I was just wondering if you even have to keep on working. I mean, surely you have enough money saved up to retire by this point, right? You're always so busy running your stores, and I just wonder if you ever have time to do anything else you want to be doing. Even if you don't retire all the way, maybe you could just be like kind of semi-retired for a while?
I won't lie to you. More and more I have days where I think that sounds quite nice. But I just know that I still have the fight in me to keep going a little while more. Anyways, sorry Davis, was there something you wanted to talk to me about? I feel like we got a bit distracted with this chit-chat and catching up.
Well, actually, I did have something I wanted to talk to you about.
Well, what is it? You shouldn't be having a lady in suspense. What do you want to talk to me about?
I have someone who I'd like you to meet.
You mean a girl? A girlfriend? You're bringing home a girlfriend?
Well, maybe a bit more than that. I've actually been seeing this girl for a while, and, well, I proposed to her not that long ago. So I wanted you to meet her and give your blessing. I know I jumped the gun at proposing, but it would still mean a lot.
Oh my gosh! Oh, I don't know what to say! This is also exciting. My little Davis is finally going to be getting married. Oh, I'm crying right now. I knew this day would come, but I didn't know it would hit me like this. Oh my. Oh, my makeup is going to start running.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, Aunt Tessa. I didn't mean to make you cry, especially right before you were going into the bar. Maybe I should have just waited until after you were off to tell you about this.
Oh, don't be silly. These are tears of joy. I'm so happy for you, Davis. This is just the most wonderful news. Oh my, this is just amazing. But I still have to go and do my hair for the night. And I have to make sure to tell all the girls at the bar about this great news.
Oh, come on, it's not that big of a deal. You don't gotta go and tell the girls.
What are you talking about? This is amazing news. Don't you dare try and downplay the fact that you're getting married. I'm so excited for you, Davis. Thank you so much for telling me this. This is going to make the rest of my night so much easier to deal with.
Aunt Tessa, thank you so much. You know that I have to thank you for everything that I've been able to do up until now.
What do you mean, sweetie? You've done so well for yourself, and you really ought to be proud.
But when I was just a kid, both my parents died. You were the one that took me in, and I didn't have anyone else. Even though you were still working nights and busy with your store, you still always made sure to have time for me when I needed it. And no matter how tired you were, you would make sure to cook for me. You raised me, and I just feel like I owe you everything. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for you, Aunt Tessa.
Are you really trying to get me to cry even before my shift? You should have saved that little speech for when I was laying on my deathbed. Oh, now I'll have to go and fix my makeup all over again.
Please don't say that, Aunt Tessa. I want you to know how happy I am that I get to share this moment with you. And you better not be lying in that bed anytime soon. I still want you to be in my life for a long time. I still have so much I need to do to pay you back.
David, what on earth are you talking about? I was the one who took you in. I knew it would be my duty to see to it that you were raised right. I'm so grateful to have you in my life, too. I don't know where I'd be without you always looking out for me. I know this is awful to say, but there are times when grateful is the wrong word. But I wonder if fate didn't push us into each other's lives like this after your parents passed.
Well, I barely have any memory of my parents at this point. But for basically all my life, you've been the only parent that I did have, and I couldn't ask for a better person to raise me.
Oh, Davis, don't you go starting with me again. My eyes are going to be red and puffy all night at this rate.
You're right, we could just save this talk for another time. But I just wanted to get that off my chest. Anyway, if possible, I'd like for you to meet my fiancé sometime next month. When you have a chance to look at your schedule, please let me know a day that would work for you.
I think there are going to be a few days when the clubs will be closed. But I'll give you an exact date and times that would work for me soon.
Got it, then I'll just wait for that message. Good luck with work tonight, Aunt Tessa.
Thank you again, Davis, for everything. We'll talk soon.
Oh, Davis! I just wanted to let you know that I got home safe and sound.
Hey, Michaela, I'm really sorry I wasn't able to take you home tonight.
Oh, you don't have to worry about that at all. I actually had some quick errands to run on the way back home, so it was better this way for me anyways. And besides, it had been a while since you went over to visit with your aunt, right? You two should enjoy each other's company.
Thanks for being so understanding. Aunt Tessa just has some things around the house that she needed help with since she's getting a bit too old to do them by herself.
It must be hard for her to live in a place like that all by herself, though. But I'm glad that we both could help her out around the house while I was over there. It felt nice to do something for the woman that raised you.
I'm glad you both seem to get along so well. If I'm being honest, I was pretty nervous the whole time.
And now this means that we've both formally announced our engagement to both our families!
I suppose all that's left is planning the wedding and arranging a date to go to the city hall and make this thing official.
I guess so. But you're sure that I didn't do anything rude or weird while we were at your aunt's? I mean, I was also pretty nervous to be meeting her for the first time. It was all such a blur. I feel like I barely remember what happened.
I think that you were just perfect, Michaela. And I think that my aunt really did take a liking to you, so you don't gotta worry about that.
Well, I really enjoyed meeting her too. She was just so lovely, and I had a great time.
She really is a friendly person, isn't she? I feel like she always just knows how to be herself. But I'm glad that nothing out of the ordinary happened.
I know. I was so shocked when she asked for my phone number too. Who would have guessed that we would get along so quickly? Then again, maybe she was just using the charm she pulls on the customers at her clubs, right? I never would have guessed that I ended up in a connection in that kind of business. It honestly does seem like a whole nother world the more that I think about it. And I hope this isn't rude to say, but I was surprised by how well kept a woman of her age was. She looked great.
You should tell her that the next time you see her. Maybe not the age bit, but I'm sure she'd love to know that you liked her look.
If you think she'll like hearing it, then I'll be sure to say it. And the way she made it sound, she was going to be more and more free on the weekends, so I think we'll have more time to see each other. I guess she's just really busy during the week then, right?
Well, I think a lot of her regulars are people coming home from work who stop in, so she's usually pretty busy on the weekdays.
That does make sense, I suppose.
But it sure is a strange business for sure. The more you learn about it, the more you realize there's a whole nother world in this city that comes alive at night.
And on top of managing work like that, she still took you in when you were little? That must have been pretty tough on the both of you at times, right? I mean, she was probably hardly ever home at night, right? And I don't suppose it was as easy to just hire a sitter back then either, right?
Yeah, she was gone most nights, but there were times when she could ask some of her staff to look over me. She made sure to pay them to do so, but I guess it helps when you have trustworthy staff like that.
So there were always different people coming in and out of the house then? Did that ever bother you when you were little?
No, not really. If anything, I just got to know a lot of the ladies she hired, and they were all lovely. Some of them used to be teachers or nurses, so they were familiar with how to take care of kids. Some of them even helped me with my homework when I had questions. It was almost like having a whole private staff of different people with different strengths.
Oh, wow. Well, I guess that does make sense, though. Except I think that if news of something like that got out today, people would accuse your aunt of neglect or something like that.
I think the times have changed for sure, but as far as I'm concerned, she was the only one who raised me, and I wouldn't have wanted it any other way.
Well, I really am glad that you sound like you did enjoy growing up the way you did. Because being from the outside looking in, it can be a little hard to wrap my head around.
I know it seems strange, but I really did have a fun childhood. Even when Aunt Tessa would be so hungover after a night of partying, I just remember being a kid and thinking that she was turning into a zombie. I guess maybe I took a lot from her since she raised me since I was so young. I get that it's a bit weird.
It is weird, but the way you explain it all, I can't help but respect the woman. She owned her own business, was single, took in a child, and raised him into the man that I'm going to marry.
I really do feel like I owe her so much for what she did for me. She's been the only family I've had ever since my parents passed away. When they did die, the other relatives all preferred to send me to an orphanage. None of them wanted to take me in. Which is understandable, I guess, but Aunt Tessa was the exception.
Well, now your family is going to grow even bigger with me, Davis. And together we'll make our own family too, and we can all live happily as one big family.
I really can't wait for that. I'm looking forward to our future together, Michaela. I'm really so happy to have you in my life, you know. Hey, Aunt Tessa, are you working today? Because if you're not, I was just wondering if you wanted to come over and hang out.
Oh, Davis, I'm really sorry, but I have a ton of errands to run today.
Oh, really? I see.
Is everything okay? What's with that response?
Well, it's just I was in town and I ended up running into Mandy, who manages your second club.
Oh, okay. What did you guys talk about? Is everything okay?
Well, I heard from Mandy that you're not doing so well. So anyway, I guess I just was worried about you and wanted to see if you wanted to spend some time together.
Oh, no, it's nothing bad at all. I think it's just this summer heat making me feel a bit ill is all. You know how Mandy always blows things out of proportion.
I know she can be like that, but you and Mandy have been working together for almost 10 years now, and she sounded pretty worried for you.
I promise you that I really am okay. I just needed to rest a little the last time that we talked is all.
Oh, really? But when we talked just a few months ago, you said that you were wanting to keep working, right?
Well, when you get to be my age, things can change rather quickly, you know?
Your age? Aunt Tessa, are you okay? You never mention your own age. Something is up, isn't it? You know that you can talk to me about anything, right?
I know that, but I just don't want you to worry about me all your life, Davis. You have your own life and even your own wedding to plan to now. Please, just focus on those things and don't worry about me.
Right, I have something that I'd like to talk to you about in that regards. Michaela and I sent out our wedding invitations, but we never got your RSVP. We figured that it was because it was a given that you would be there, but you are going to be at the wedding, right?
I'm sorry, but I just don't think that I'll be able to go.
Wait, what? You're kidding me, right? That's gotta be some kind of joke.
I'm afraid it's true. The fact of the matter is that on the day of your wedding, I'll be meeting with someone I owe a lot to, and I simply can't miss meeting them.
But it's my wedding. You're really not gonna be there for me?
I really am sorry about this, Davis. I do wish that I could, but I just can't.
But you're the only family I have, Aunt Tessa. I need you there with me.
Come now, Davis, you're all grown up. You don't need me by your side for every little thing anymore. And this thing I have to do is really important to me as well, so I'm afraid there's nothing to be done about it.
Okay then, but what time are you gonna be home from your errands?
I don't know. It's going to be a very long day, I think.
Well, just let me know when you're done, okay? I'll wait for you. This is really serious, and I'd like to talk to you about this in person with you.
No, you shouldn't do that, Davis. I might not be home until very late. There would be no point in troubling yourself like that.
I don't care how late it is. I want to talk about this with you, Aunt Tessa.
Good morning, you old hag. I just wanted to say thanks again so much for agreeing not to come to Davis and I's wedding. I heard that you were pretty depressed the other day, though.
What are you talking about? You were the one who told me to tell Davis that I wouldn't be able to go.
And just who do you think you are talking to me like that, huh? You really are just a sad old woman, aren't you? Did you really think we were going to let some woman who runs sleazy clubs like you into our wedding?
Oh, the joke is on you because the wedding is off.
What did you just say to me? What in the world makes you think that, huh?
It's not Tessa, it's me, Davis.
You really think that I'm going to believe that? You must think I'm a moron if you're trying to tell me that you're Davis. But from now on, I want you to stay away from him. You're clearly nothing but a bad influence. I thought I made that clear to you the last time we spoke. You said you would gradually pull out of being part of his life. You and Davis are parts of different worlds, and you don't deserve to have him.
Michaela, what in the world are you talking about right now?
I mean that Davis went to college and works for a huge firm. You're just a pervy old lady who runs some shabby old clubs. You're an embarrassment to Davis, don't you get that?
You really need to stop this right now, Michaela, because you and I are not going to the city hall tomorrow.
Wait a second. How did you know that Davis and I were doing our civil ceremony tomorrow? Did you ask him about our wedding plans?
For the last time, I am Davis. I'm here at Aunt Tessa's house texting you on her phone. I spent the night here last night.
But you told me that you were at your own house yesterday. You said that you were really tired from work.
Well, I lied to you. Not only that, but I saw the message that you were sending to my aunt, and I had to do a lot of hard thinking last night.
So then, this really is Davis right now.
That's what I've been telling you this whole time.
Then what is all this talk about us not getting married? I don't understand.
I refuse to get married without the woman who raised me standing by my side. Do you understand?
But this isn't fair. I told your aunt not to mention any of this to you. How could she do this to me?
Is that even a serious question? You were insulting the woman who raised me and tried to keep her from being at our wedding. How could you do that to her?
But I was only doing it for your sake. Think of how awful it would look to have a woman like her standing around with the rest of my normal family. You really want Aunt Tessa to be what people think of when they think of your family? That's just absurd.
If you really think that, then I know for a fact now that we could never get married.
But why? This doesn't have anything to do with you. It's about her.
No, it does have to do with you. Aunt Tessa raised me for 20 years. She dedicated her life to her clubs and me, and she is the most important person in my life. I thought that you might take her place one day, but now I know that you're nothing but a horrible, condescending elitist.
So you're really going to choose your own aunt over me?
It's not even a choice, really. The answer is clear as day to me. If you're going to insult my family, then I don't want you in my life.
Davis, you're being ridiculous. You're really going to throw away marrying me to defend this harlot? It's time for you to join regular society. Nobody is going to want to be with you if you have connections to the kinds of circles your aunt runs in.
And just what's wrong with those circles? It was Aunt Tessa and her girls who raised me into the person I am today. The person that you want to marry.
You can't be serious about this, right? Please tell me that this is some kind of prank I'm just not understanding. I mean, if you and I don't get married, then who's going to pay the cancellation fees for all the reservations we made?
Don't you worry about that. I'll pay for it all, and then I never want to see you again. Do you understand me?
You're really going to throw away a normal life for her? You can't do this to me, Davis. I love you.
Well, I can't love someone who wants to tear my family apart. I really did love you, but I just don't have those feelings anymore. I know who you really are now, and it's not a person I love.
You're making a big mistake.
I think the only person here making a mistake is you, Michaela.
You can't do this to me. Please, I'll apologize to your aunt. We'll be friends. We can fix this.
There's nothing to fix. I don't want to be with you anymore, and that's that. I just hope that one day you learn the true meaning of family. After that, I reached out to Michaela's parents and explained to them that I broke off our engagement. They asked me why, and I did my best to explain what had happened. I told them that I would be paying for the cancellation fees as well. I expected them to be furious at me, but instead they apologized for their daughter's actions. After I canceled our wedding plans, I heard that Michaela quit her job, since she couldn't stand the rumors flying around at work about her engagement falling apart. I hear that now she just lives at home with her parents and hardly ever leaves.